I made this Ankara short as a beginner. If you want something stylish and easy to sew, this one is the easiest to sew.
So for this tutorial, these are the materials I'll be making use of. And for my fabric, you could use a 1 yard or 1.5 yard fabric. So the first thing I'll do is I'll take out my 1.5 inches for my waistband, and then I'll go ahead to mark out my crotch and the length of my short, how long I want it to be. Afterwards, I went ahead to make the same marks on the other side so that I will make a straight line out of it. Using a ruler, I made a straight line meeting all the points together, my crotch line and my short length, and also the hemming allowance. After which, I went on to the top of my short and I removed 1 inch from my waist. That's where I'm going to take my waist measurements from. So after which, I took my waist measurement, exactly my waist divided into 4, and then I added sewing allowance, which was 1.5 inches. And then I measured what I had on my waist, and then I brought it down to my hip. That's going to be my hip. I made a mark there, and I'll be using my straight ruler to join both of them together. After which, I used my curved rule on that other part of my waist to connect it to my hip line, to my crotch line rather. So I went ahead to divide my crotch, my laps, into 2 plus sewing allowance. Using my curved rule, I'll connect these lines just like this. Then I moved over to my short length and I deducted one inch, and from that 1 inch I divided my lap into 2, and whatever I had I marked it down there plus my sewing allowance. Then I went ahead to cut it out. So for this next part, I went ahead to fold my hemming allowance in so that I can connect the lines which I made, and then I will cut it out. What I did was I folded it inward and I used my pin to pin it down to make it stable and not move. Then I went ahead to connect my lines using a straight ruler. Connect my hip line and also the other parts of my lines. I used the curved rule for the other parts which was connected to my hip area. After connecting, I went ahead to cut it out just like this. After cutting, I made a notch to indicate where my short length started from. And then I went ahead to cut out the top of my short. I left ½ inch allowance for sewing. So that is it for my front pattern, and so I'll be placing this my front pattern on my back pattern. I went ahead to trace out the crotch line just like this. I'm tracing this out and also this other part too, and a little bit of the hemming part. Then I shifted it out a little bit. I wanted it to be 1 inch. I wanted it to be around 1 inch. Just to make sure it is around 1 inch, I used my tape to check if it was around 1 inch. So I went on to the top of my back piece, and instead of that 1 inch allowance which I did for this other part, I made 1.5 inch, and that is going to be the new line for my crotch for the back part. And then I went on to add 1 inch for the top part, and then I connected it to the side of my short. I hope you understand what I'm saying, but if you do not understand, please leave a comment so I could make it clear to you. And then I went on to trace out my other parts just like this. As you're seeing me doing it like this, I went on to trace out my other parts. So what I did next was to remove my back piece, and I'm going to cut out my front piece, and this is the new line that I'm going to cut out. Just watch as I'm going to do it. So I brought in my front piece just to make that same notch which I did for the length of the short. I made a straight line across just like this, so I'll be making my notch on my short length to know where it started from. This is my back piece afterwards. So for my front piece, I want it to have a pocket. So I went ahead to mark on the tip of my short 2 inches, then I came downward with 7 inches slanted, and then I used my free hand to connect this line, not straight but a little bit bent, a little bit curved. So just like this, I connected the lines meeting the 7 inches point which I made downward, and then I had to cut it out just like this. And I'll be fixing my pocket, but I'm not going to show you how I'm going to fix the pocket in this video. I'll be making a video on that particular scene. So moving on, I'll place my front piece front side facing each other, and I'm taking it to my sewing machine. I'll make 1/2 inch stitches. I've gone ahead to fix my pocket, so I'm placing my back piece front side facing each other, and I'll make 1/2 inch sewing.
Afterwards, this is how it is like after I finish making the stitches. So I brought in my front piece and I place it on top my back piece, and I'll be sewing along this side using 1/2 inch, and also on this other side using 1/2 inch. After making the stitches, this is how it is like. I've already stitched down the both sides which I said I was going to stitch down. So the next thing is to fix in my waistband. So I fold it up like this, the center front and the center back. So I'm going to take my waist measurement from here to the back of my shorts, and then whatever I had, that's what I'm going to use for my waistband cutting. So I've gone ahead to cut out this waistband. It is exactly my waist measurement which I took, and it is 2 inches wide, 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. So I'm going to place my waistband inside of my shorts just like this, just to make my stitches. Then I'll pin it down. After pinning, I'll sew it round, and I'm going to leave this opening here. That's where my elastic is going to pass through. After I finish stitching it down, this is the opening which I was talking about, where I'm going to pass my elastic through. The next thing I'll do is I'm going to hem the bottom part and close the shorts just like this. I'll fold this part in because I'll be stitching that down. After stitching it down, then I'll join the two pieces like this, and then I'm going to stitch along this side as well using of an inch. And this is how it is after I finish making the stitches on the bottom part. Very, very clean and very easy to sew. So the next thing I'll do is to fix in my elastic. I went ahead to measure my elastic, my waist, my round waist minus 4 inches. That's what I'm going to use for my elastic. Using my safety pin, I'm going to pass this elastic through my elastic casing. Passing an elastic through a casing is very easy if you use a safety pin. This is how you're going to do it. If this video has been helpful to you so far, give it a thumbs up. And if this is the first time you're seeing my video, you're welcome. And also, if you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. In this channel, we post weekly videos of beginner-friendly sewing. So if this is what you're interested in, please hit the subscribe button and also turn on the notification bell to get notified anytime a new video is uploaded in the channel. So I'll take it to my sewing machine, I'll stitch it down, and this is it. After I finish stitching it down, then I arrange it in place. So this is it for this tutorial. It is very easy, a beginner friendly tutorial that any beginner could sew. So I went ahead to stitch down that opening which I left earlier, and voila, very cute, very beautiful. And I went ahead to top stitch my waistband, and it is giving. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in my next one.